Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we do a new character every week. This week, we're going to be talking about Amazing Spider-Man, and I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Daniel.
Hello, everyone. Hello to Daniel. Daniel, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm peachy. And Brandon, it's great to have you back. How are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
I believe that's already been covered. Hey, Brad, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it. I would like to begin by apologizing to everyone for missing last week. That's my fault. So we had to reschedule due to a conflict on our normal record night. And then the night we planned to record, I had a pretty bad migraine. So I just was not able to participate.
Fred is just not going to mention the fact that I had a minor surgery that day and woke up like an hour and a half late for the record anyway. But
no, I'm not, because that's a HIPAA violation, Brad. I was not going to do that for you.
Hold on, you're not a medical provider. That is not a HIPAA violation.
Fair.
Yeah, I woke up freaking out, saw that Fred had already asked to cancel, and felt way better about sleeping through it.
Yeah. I was. There were two of us who were not in a position to be doing much recording that night. So we missed, and I'd like to apologize. But we're here today, and we're here recording now. So, all right, let's begin by addressing a little bit of the elephant in the room, and that is the updates, or the planned updates, that we now have a somewhat definitive date, which is going to be August 10th. That is a somewhat definitive date. We can't know for certain, but that's what they have said. One of the Wills, was on a fan Discord. Will Pagani was on a fan Discord recently, and he was discussing some of the reasons why this slowdown happened. And one of the big concerns they have is having to move any changes in art or in layout design. I think he specifically mentioned the layout of the word Marvel in Marvel Crisis Protocol needed to be changed very slightly to match with the corporate Marvel layout. That's currently the case. And part of the slowdowns is moving it up and down the corporate ladder in order to get it approved across as many places where they have to have approved. So it's coming. That's my take. And he has
bureaucracy.
Yeah. Blame corporations. So I think there's been a lot of hand wringing in the community, and that's understandable. This is something that we've been waiting a long time for, and kind of the way they've done this is the worst possible way, telling us it's coming and then delaying it and delaying it and delaying it. And everyone is afraid to start playing with something new because it is something that might get changed. But I think that something we all need to remember is that this is for fun, and the game is great right now. It's fun to play, and hopefully when these changes happen, there's going to be more models that are more fun to play. That's, I guess, my takeaway right now. So, there is a few more models that we know of some of the changes, and that is Asgard. The Asgard box that came out just recently has some of the updates. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but a couple models gained a couple points of health, and Thor 2 did not change, and that could still change. Yeah, he could still change. That may have been they were not ready to print his changed card into that box. That's my hope. because Thor 2, every time I've said this, I feel like I'm incorrect, but Thor 2 is an underperformer as he is right now for a 6th threat. The last time I played against Thor 2 was against JP, and he kicked my butt completely. Like, Thor 2 still was awesome, but as a 6th threat, I think he may be a bit of an underperformer as he currently stands. So we're all hoping for a little bit of a buff that's more than just some health. But we'll see. All right, I've kind of been monologuing. I want to hear other people's takes on the whole situation. Brad, do you have anything to add to what I've said?
I'm looking forward to the character update on August 10th, 2027.
Yeah, okay. Brandon, do you have anything you want to add?
I think at this point, there's nothing they can do that's going to satisfy me.
Yeah,
Until
Brandon's
it's
our
just
local
released.
naysayer. Everyone,
Yeah.
Brandon's our negative Nancy.
That's rooted in the idea of if they only update like health, if there's like very few actual character changes, like I'm probably going to be just mad about it.
There are going to be some. We do know of some. It's just we don't
Every month
know.
I waited extra, I want more.
I mean, all right.
It would be very funny if on August 10th at like noon they put out a thing saying that it's going to be delayed, and then like an hour later they put it out.
I think the
man.
funniest
No,
thing that
it
I
would be the
keep
opposite of
seeing
funny.
is they
It would be
didn't
pretty
say
funny.
August. When he wrote it, he didn't put August 10th. He put 8/10/2026. And there's a lot of people that are just like, so he just means October 8th.
No. On the pod, he was on Gray Squadron Gaming. They put out a video on YouTube, and he says the word August. He says August 10th.
Because I know originally he had just like, they were just typed and it was like 8/10, and it was like half the people that were in there were from like Europe, and they were like, wait a second, what's happening?
Why do Americans do things backwards? Yeah. I think that if they were to delay it again, I'm trying to be optimistic. If they delay it again, it will really hurt them. Like, I think more than previously. It'll piss me off, and I'm hard to piss off. Oh, okay, Daniel. I want to let you have a shot here to talk. Is there anything you want to add?
I just wish they had communicated better, because like every time they pushed it back, I kind of threw my hands up and was like, for the love of God, how much effort is it to change a bunch of 5s to 6s and 6s to 7s? But like, if it's the legitimate like red tape thing, I think that's much more understandable, and people would have probably been a lot less upset about it.
They were
also
transparent about it 5 months ago.
Well, I also think that that's a part of why he told this information on like podcasts and on a Discord server, is that it's tougher for that he's letting that information leak to get back to the higher ups in, like, they have to go all the way to Disney with this. And they don't want Disney to hear that they're being badmouthed by this tiny corporation that is, let's be frank, a non-entity to their. They deign to allow them to use the Marvel license. So like, I not wanting to piss off their Disney overlords makes complete sense to me. I understand why they would take the care that they have been in communication. It feels bad from our end.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I am just saying that I understand it. It doesn't justify it. It does suck. They do need to communicate better. And it feels like they've had us kind of on a leash for a little while, just dragging us along, hanging this carrot in front of us.
Right.
But
I think the thing too that bothers me is they're kind of putting it now like, well, we're changing like card layouts and this and that. And it's like, you didn't have to do any of that.
Oh, they're updating art. There's a
you
lot
didn't
of
have
art
to
that
do
they're
that.
changing.
That's what
They
I'm getting
want to
at.
make them
That was
all.
never necessary. All you need,
They-
you could have released the exact old cards with the updates, and then
They're trying to make them all horizontal cards instead of vertical cards, and a lot of the cards are still vertical. Like the official card is vertical.
I could be wrong, but I think literally any change that you make to the card has to be approved via the licensing agreement. So I think it's like one of those. If we had to get it approved, we may as well update them all to make it all look, the same.
Yeah.
I believe
I
one of the
think you're
things
right.
that Will had said in the Discord was like, they didn't change. I forget what it was, like some like logo on an image or something like that on one of the older cards that they tried to like keep the artwork mostly the same, and they ended up having to like update the whole thing. So like I think they still would have run into issues if they tried to do it that way, probably.
Yeah. Yep. I think that this is just we are unfortunately we're sitting in the back seat where Disney's at the helm, and we're just waiting for the corporate red tape to work its way out. I think that's where we're at right now.
And it must be worked out, or he would not have said a hard date. Like,
Yes,
it
yeah,
must
yeah.
be absolutely ready to go. They could hit the button tomorrow. They're just not going to.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think that you pointed out there was an update, a long overdue update to their affiliations document.
No.
Like, oh, wait, what was it?
It wasn't even the affiliations document. It was a Legion document.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't even this.
No.
It wasn't even Marvel.
They also finally released the print and play for the Crises.
Oh, yeah. That is
packet.
That's what it was. That's
yeah.
what it was. Yeah. And like that was they finally brought their PDF, their one guy who knows how to do PDFs back from vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, that is our update on the update. I think that next episode it's unfortunately very soon after we do our records. What do you get
Fred
okay.
Fred was not paying attention to
Fred doesn't
Discord,
read the Discord.
when I suggested that
I
we record a day late, Fred, so that we have the updates.
There we go. Okay. All right, let's record a day late so that we have the
I
update.
said that I probably won't be available because it's my birthday.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I do remember you saying that. Okay.
Before we move on, while we're talking about podcasts, I'd just like to shout out. Oh my gosh, I just had it. It's part of the Cast Network. Zero.
Oh boy.
Zero Threat. The Zero Threat
Threat.
podcast. They shouted us out on there. We really appreciate it. I listened to the whole episode. I thought it was a pretty good episode. So
Yeah, it is. It is the Throw Some Dice, or is it the Throw Dice Podcast Network? And it is one of the sub podcasts of the Throw Dice Podcast Network. So, if you are interested in Marvel Crisis Protocol or otherwise other tabletop games, check them out.
yeah.
Their show was good. I liked it. It was fun.
And they have a guy named Brad.
They do.
2 strikes against.
Wait, was the first strike that I said that you should watch it?
Yes.
Okay, I see how it is.
Come on. What are we doing?
Brandon, they do. It sounds like they do a bunch of 40K. Maybe you would like it.
No more strikes. They've earned themselves back.
All right. Let's move along to games that we have played recently. So, I think that I have a bunch. I've played a bunch of games recently. Most of them against Memphis, and all using Convocation. And I'm enjoying my games with Convocation. So I'll make mine relatively quick. I played Memphis twice last week, and he absolutely annihilated me in both games. He was playing Avengers with, this is Steve 3, Avengers with Gambit and with King T'Challa. And I just could not match up with him. Like, all of my control stuff, King T can just come right on back with a bound and then slap me harder than I can take. With energy. That's the thing that's killing me, is that my defensive tech against physical attacks isn't against energy. I have no defensive tech, or very little defensive tech against energy, and I just get annihilated. So I need to come up with some different strategies for dealing with them. I think I've come up with stuff, but Memphis switched over to Asgard in the most recent 2 games that I played against him, and in both of those games, I won. I put part of that up to Memphis being new to playing Asgard and trying them out, but also I feel like for some reason it's better than my matchup into Steve 3 with Gambit and with King T'Challa. I'm very much enjoying Convocation. It feels really good when I pull some crazy shenanigans and suddenly I'm a point ahead. A point, like, I am losing the game usually, being killed left and right, and somehow still getting more points than my opponent. It feels really fun. I'm enjoying it. And then I played a game against Brad, where Brad played X-Force, and he completely annihilated me.
I just want to point out, before Fred talks about this game, that Jonathan the Unstoppable got me 4 points in this game.
Oh, yeah. God, Jonathan. Yeah, so I started by making a mistake. I threw Lizard up to steal his Crisis, to steal the extract on his side, and then Cable killed Lizard, as he probably should. Like, even doing my jump back, I was still within range 3 of Cable, and Cable could re-roll 2 of his dice into my now incinerated Lizard, and I didn't stand a chance. So, and then he played Echo. Echo's really hard for me to deal with because she's just in my face, and what?
She's so good.
Yeah, oh yeah. No denying that. She is an amazing model. And she's in my face, and I do my control shenanigans, move her away, and then she charges, and she's in my face again. So, like, there's very little I can do against that. I've done a post-mortem, and I probably should have just brought completely different stuff in this matchup. I probably should have had Juggernaut instead of Lizard. Probably should not have brought Doctor Strange. I should have brought just some lesser Convocation models, and I probably shouldn't have had Emma Frost. So, I mean, I thought about it. Emma Frost did a lot in this game, but I'm thinking about just playing a completely different roster, or not roster, completely different list than what I had. But I am learning Convocation, and I'm having fun with them. So I do not think that they're going on the shelf yet. I am having fun. Okay. Daniel, did you have some games that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I actually played a game earlier today. So at Old School out here in Toledo, we are doing like a summer-long charity drive type thing. Which actually, shout out Steven. He actually, one of the things he told me a while ago kind of helped give me the idea for this. But essentially, you buy in, you get Infinity Gem assigned to you, and then you play people who have the other Infinity Gems to acquire them. Once you've acquired all of them, you get a raffle ticket. You put the raffle ticket in one of the prize things, and then you could buy back in and start all over again. So today, I played against one of our locals, Charlie, and I played Web Warriors with Amazing Spider-Man as the leadership because I was like, we're talking about him today. I'll play him. I've been putting him on the table for a while. Against Dormammu, Charlie put Dormammu on the table. He had Heimdall, Red Skull 2, and Moondragon with the Mind Stone alongside Dormammu. I had Amazing Spider-Man, Black Cat, Spider-Man Noir, Hawkeye. I splashed Hawkeye, which he was actually really good. Spider-Ham and Silk, I believe, was my last model. And Webbs did the web thing. I jumped out to a pretty early lead, and then using Amazing Spider-Man's leadership, kind of just kept pushing him off of all of the points while staying at arm's length to keep all my extract carriers alive. And I ended up winning that game pretty handily. I think it was 17-5. So not the closest match in the world, but it was still a fun time. Charlie's a good guy. So that was what I did today. Which On that note, just as a quick aside, if you are in the Toledo area and you're interested in joining our sort of summer-long Infinity Gauntlet for charity, all the proceeds are going to the ALS Association, and even if you don't have time to get in the games to complete for a raffle ticket, you can purchase individual raffle tickets for $15. We had a couple different prizes up at the store that you can put your tickets in for. So I don't know if you're in the area, come out. We're drawing everything on August 29th when we host our next tournament. So even if you're from out of town and you want to come and support it and buy some raffle tickets the day of the tournament, that would be great. Sorry to hijack with that shameless plug, but yeah.
Oh, no, go. I'm all for it. I support you making that plug. Also, you reminded me that I did not call out upcoming events, which I need to do. So perhaps we will finish this, and then I'll call out upcoming events.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay. All right. Was that all of the games that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I play a bunch of them regularly. I don't have the same recall as you guys do for every game I play, so I just figured I'd keep it short to the one.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, you had more actual information. I don't remember what models I played in any of my games now. That's not true. I do remember, but we won't backtrack. All right, Brad, do you have any games that you want to talk about other than the one with me?
That is the only game I played.
Okay. All right. Brandon, I want to throw it to you. Do you have any games you want to talk about? Hey, I want to give you the shot. I want to let you talk as much as you can.
You're gonna be surprised the day when I have one.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to drag you into a game one of these days.
To be fair, I was supposed to play a game, I think not last Monday, but the Monday before last, but I got held over at work really long, so.
That's the worst.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right. Well, let's talk about upcoming events, because I forgot to do it earlier. So coming up on August 8th, there are a lot of them. There is a tournament at the Utah Cup in Farmington, Utah. This is a grand tournament, and it is going to be a big event. So if you are living in the Utah area, head on over there to Farmington to play in the Utah Cup. I believe it's a 2-day event. Then, also on the 8th, there is a tournament in Parisburg, Virginia, which is run by JP and Better Brandon. I myself will be attending, as will Brad, as will likely Memphis. We'll see. I think Memphis is a yes.
Yeah.
But, yeah. We are going to attend, and it will be fun. It was fun the last time we went, and it will hopefully be fun this time. Also, on the 8th, there is a tournament at Battlegrounds in Ravenna, Ohio. So if you are in Ohio, head to that event. The last time I went to Ravenna, Ohio, that space is great. They have a really nice little space. I really like Drew, who runs their events, is a great tournament organizer.
He's the best.
He really is. He's great. So if you are in that area, head on down. Then, coming up on August the 15th, there is a local tournament at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. This is our local gaming group, and I'm not expecting a high turnout, but you never know. Last time we had, was it 8 players?
Yeah.
It's pretty good for us.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah. Then, on the 22nd, there is a tournament at Fabricators Forge in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is run by Bryce. I spoke about Battlegrounds being a great space. Fabricators Forge is also a great space. Huge fan of Bryce as a tournament organizer, and if you are able to, please go to Fabricators Forge on August the 22nd. Then, on August 29th, and this is the big one, there is a tournament at Old School Gaming in Toledo, Ohio. I have been corrected that I've been saying Old School Games, where the correct title is Old School Gaming.
Yeah, minor enough that they didn't care to correct it for a couple months now, but I figured if I was on the pod today, I should probably tell him.
Yes, yeah, and I appreciate it. I don't want to be saying the wrong thing all the time. I appreciate being corrected.
Quick note on that one real quick. I should mention, if you are going to that tournament on August 29th at Old School Gaming, anyone who participates in the tournament will get 20% off on any MCP products, as well as the Pro Acryl paint line for Monument Hobbies. So just a little added bonus to try and get some more people out there.
Holy moly. I mean, I have promised to you that I will come to one of these events in the future. It unfortunately won't be this one, but I will come to one in the future.
I
Uh,
understand.
yep. Oh, this is an Appalachian Cup event, so if you're playing for the Appalachian Cup, you try to attend this guy because this is going to be one of the ones that gets points. Uh, all right, and then I do want to call out one more. There is a grand tournament in Lansing, Michigan, on October 10th. It's been a while since I've called this one out, and I want to call it out again. So if you are in Lansing, Michigan, or in the surrounding area, head on down to the AFK Games. That's where it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a really
Yeah,
nice store.
I
The
got it.
guys who run it are really, really cool people, so definitely come out and support them. I don't know if you guys heard I know like the backstory about all of it, but the Michigan GT used to be like a big gaming convention. The guy who was running it went bankrupt right after they got their AMG GT status, so they scrambled to try and at least keep the MCP and the Shatterpoint side of it running. So they are really hoping that people will come out and support them so they can do it again next year.
Okay, there you go. There is the person who is affected most by this giving the call out. So please come on out, go to Lansing, Michigan, and participate in a grand tournament on October 10th. All right, those are the upcoming events that I'm going to call out this week. All right, is there anything else that we need to cover now before we move on to the person that we are here to cover today? I don't think there is. So, let's talk about Amazing Spider-Man, otherwise known as Peter Parker. His defensive line is 4 physical, 4 energy, and 3 mystic. He has 6 stamina on both sides of his card. He is a 5 threat model. He is a size 2, and he is a long mover. He is also on a medium base, which is important because this makes him one of the safe grabs in the game, who can safe grab a middle point. He is affiliated with Defenders and Web Warriors. And Brad, why don't you talk about his attacks?
His first attack is called Spider Strike. It is physical, range 3, 5 dice, cost 0, gain power for the damage dealt, and has a crit wild momentum trigger. After this attack is resolved, choose another enemy character within range 2 of this target character. Place this character within range 1 of the chosen character. Then the chosen character suffers a collision as if this character were thrown into them. His second attack is also physical, whatever a spider can. Range 2, 8 dice, cost 4. After this attack is resolved, this character may advance medium. Wild Catch. After this attack is resolved, you may choose an interactive terrain feature of size 2 or less within range 3 of the character and destroy it. The target character suffers a collision as if the terrain feature were thrown into it.
All right. Hey, Daniel, why don't you cover his affiliation leadership and the first 2 superpowers there?
Okay, he's got a leadership for Web Warriors called Friendly Neighborhood Spider Team. Once per turn during an allied character's activation, it may spend 1 power and choose an enemy character within 2. The chosen character gains the slow special condition. If the chosen character already had the slow special condition, place it within one of his current position and remove the slow special condition. He has an active superpower called Web Swing. It costs 2 power. Place this character within 3 of his current position. The next time it makes a Spider Strike this turn, add 2 dice to the attack roll. This superpower can only be used once per turn. And then he has a reactive that costs 1 power called Witty Banter. If an enemy character within 3 of this character is attacking an allied character, this character may use the superpower during the modify opponent's dice step of the attack. You may re-roll 1 die in the attack roll.
All right. And Brandon, why don't you finish out the card?
He has 2 innate superpowers. The first one is Mastered Spider Sense. Whenever this character rolls dice, after the effect is resolved, it gains 1 power if it rolled at least 1 critical result. Additionally, this character may re-roll any number of his defense or dodge dice. And he has the Wall Crawler innate superpower.
All right. And that is Amazing Spider-Man. So what is our first blush take on this guy? I want to start with Brandon. Brandon, what are your first thoughts here on Amazing Spider-Man?
That this model has aged like fine wine. I
Okay.
think there was a lot of no real desire to play this model for a really long time, and I think he's just gotten like better with time.
Well, they did change him.
Yeah, and he does like everything. He does a little bit of everything. So he adds some diverse. I think it's really his leadership though just kind of has gotten better. The way the game is kind of played out.
Yes, I will agree with you on that one. I will have some takes here later. Brad, what do you think about Amazing Spider-Man?
So when they changed him, they made very slight changes that I think the community, including me, did not think was enough. But I think it is. Like, he is very good at running the bases and doing pay-to flips. He's very survivable and helps your other people survive. I think the only thing holding him back from seeing the table a lot more than he does is that there is a 3-point Spider-Man that's also really darn good.
3-point Peter Parker.
Yeah, 3-point Peter Parker specifically. That's also really good. I think if it wasn't for that 3-point Peter Parker, he would see the table a lot, especially Web Warriors. But Daniel would know more about that than I would.
Yes, yeah. I saved Daniel for last because he's the person who has the most information on Web Warriors by far. I have played Web Warriors before. I would say that 9 times out of 10, I would play Miles Morales' leadership. But when I was up against Apocalypse, this leadership was quite useful. I found it extreme because it was really the best way I could find to displace Apocalypse himself, because I was having a lot of trouble displacing Apocalypse. And I don't think I ever beat Brad's Apocalypse list, but I came damn close once with this leadership. Damn close. All right, Daniel, why don't you tell us about Amazing Spider-Man?
I love Amazing Spider-Man. I don't play him very often anymore the point that Brad brought up, the 3-threat Peter Parker is just really, really essential to the Web's game plan. And so, I used to still have Amazing Spider-Man on the list, and I've kind of cut them all together just because I don't have very many, if any at all, not very many opportunities to play him. So a different 5-threat that could hit the table a little more often was what I ended up opting for. But he does everything you want except for steal as a Webs player. Because some of the main things you're trying to do as Webs player is you want good defensive tech. Obviously, he has that by being able to reroll any number of dice against any type of attack. It's not like a lot of the other spider senses that only works against physical or energy. He's got extra movement outside of his actions, so his web swing is incredible. He has defensive support, so one of the things that I look for in webs is you think like Ghost Spider has her lifesaver, or you love to splash Namor and Baron Zemo to get that extra reroll bubble. Witty Banter falls right in line with those sorts of things where he's got support. And then if you're running his leadership, he's got displacement. So the only thing that you're really missing that a web player would want on a character is that steal, which there's not that many characters in the game that just have a steal attached to them, and you already have 3 of them in your affiliation, so I think we can deal with the fact that he doesn't have a steal on him. But other than that, he scores very, very highly on pretty much everything that a Web Warrior character should have. His just, unfortunately, so does the other Peter Parker.
Right, yeah, so does the 3-threat version of himself.
Yeah.
And you can take him for a lot less table presence. Like, you only spend 3-threat to do all the things that this guy can do, just a little worse.
Right. And so the important thing, I think, with Amazing Spider-Man 2 is, like, he opens up a lot of really interesting turn 1 plays. Fred mentioned that he has the safe grab. Back when hammers was a thing, and now what's the other D extract? Scientific samples.
Yep.
If you win priority, you can line them up in the middle, run back, take their back point, and then you kind of bait your opponent into wasting too much time trying to get it off of him. And if you can do that, if you can make your opponent waste activations, getting a point that they otherwise would have just gotten anyways, you tend to take a pretty big tempo lead early in the game. You're up 2 or 3 points, and you can usually pretty easily protect that lead. Or you can pair him with Baron Zemo, so you run back, take the back point, have Baron Zemo in the very next activation, run right behind him, supporting him with that extra reroll, and then holding up something like Sacrifice. So you've got a lot of interesting things that you can do with him if you still choose to play him over 3-threat Peter. What I found, though, and the reason I don't play him anymore, is a lot of those exact same plays you can end up doing with Namor, because Namor also has a medium base and a long move. He also has a reroll attached to him, etc., etc. But if you aren't playing 3-threat Peter for some reason, I think Amazing Spider-Man's incredible, and I wish I put him on the table more. I just don't have the opportunity to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should talk about a little bit more about witty banter.
Great.
I think it's an amazing ability. Oftentimes it lets you switch off people's triggers. Like if they need a wild and they get one wild in their roll and they say yes, you can suddenly switch that off entirely. And it doesn't switch it off. They have to re-roll it, but the likelihood is 1 in 8 that they get the result that they want. Right. And it's a pretty big bubble. It's range 3.
Yeah, range 3 is huge. Yeah. Like, if you look at, like, I don't know, if you try and tier the different, like I said, defensive, like, support abilities that I mentioned, either the reroll bubble for Namor and Baron Zemo, or the Lifesaver for Gwen Stacy, and then this, I think it's probably technically worse than a reroll bubble because you do have to pay for it. So there might be opportunities, or it might be situations where you don't have the opportunity because you don't have power, or it comes at the opportunity cost of not doing something when you do go to activate Amazing Spider-Man. But it is pretty close just because it does have further range than the typical reroll bubble on Namor and Zemo has.
Yeah, I have played a lot of Maximus the Mad, and one of my favorite powers that Maximus the Mad has is the ability to make someone reroll 2 dice. This is one less, but this is on a character that's going to be in the scrum of things, as opposed to Maximus the Mad, who is, if he's too far forward, will die.
Yeah.
So, like this guy's survivability is head and shoulders above of Maximus the Mad's, and he has the ability to affect enemy rolls about half as much, but far more reliably for him to be alive. So I think that this, the more that I've played, the more I value something like this, like something that lets you just affect opponents' rolls in ways that they don't want you to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say rerolling an attack die is technically statistically better than rerolling a defense die because 50% of a die is not a success for an attack versus rerolling a defense die. 3 out of 8 are a success, so you are more consistently getting the result that you want by rerolling an attack die, which is another reason it probably is about as valuable as just a normal Zemo or Namor reroll bubble.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, this they are more likely to re-roll into a success than you are to re-roll into a success from a defensive standpoint.
Right, yeah, because when you're re-rolling this, you're trying to hit either one of the 2 blank sides, the shield side or the skull side, versus when you're re-rolling a defense die, you only have 1 crit, 1 wild, 1 shield side. So you have more opportunities to succeed by re-rolling their attack die than by re-rolling your own defense die.
Yeah. And this lets you switch off their triggers, which again is really handy.
Especially into the web's mirror a lot of the time, if you can turn off their impact webbing. And again, you're sort of gaining tempo on the displacement game as well by doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, is there anything... let's go a little bit deeper into this leadership. The leadership is... I want to talk about it because I think that it's not as good as Miles's. I think in most ways that you can look at it, it's not as good as Miles's leadership. But there are some circumstances where this really can come up great. Like if you need to displace someone who's size 4 or size 5, that's something that Web Warriors have had a lot of trouble doing. Like,
I don't know if I agree with that.
okay, talk to me about
So
I'm
you have
looking at this from the perspective back before the new stuff came out for Web Warriors 2.
Yeah.
So
I'm
might,
hardly even factoring in the new stuff for it, but if you bring up the new stuff, you do have Spider-Man 2099 has a web whip. Web whip does not care about size.
Yep, you're
Scarlet
right.
Spider has been around for a while. He's got a web whip that does not care about size. You have Web Line with Ghost Spider, Gwen Stacy, that does not care about size. So right out
but
the root,
none
you
of
have
them can affect the Sentinel.
sure, and
That's
that I agree with. That specifically, they have a hard time getting through the helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is one unique
this
problem
does
that they
affect the
pose.
Sentinel.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus, like, you were talking about APOC earlier. You do have plenty of ways to displace an APOC because he doesn't have the helmet. You can displace a Dormammu. I've had plenty of games where I double move a Gwen Stacy into the corner and just keep web lining Dormammu into her until she dies, and by then hopefully you have a big enough lead that you don't care that you're down a model because Dormammu spent the entire game doing nothing but trying to kill a 3 threat. But yeah, so I don't necessarily think it's always answering that question. I do think it can be really good in the mirror match at times. If they show up with Miles and you show up with Amazing Spider-Man, they kind of have to blow Aunt May's wheat cakes on a turn to try and get rid of a lot of the slows, and then you start putting them back on them, and you're out-rotating them and outrunning the bases, or whatever you're trying to do against another Webs player. It can be good there. And I think the other benefit of it is you do tend to want to run a lot of the same models underneath Miles and underneath Amazing Spider-Man, because if you just spam a bunch of slow giving characters, you're displacing via like a Rube Goldberg machine, versus if you already have displacement, then giving them slow makes it harder for their characters to get back into position. And then if they have slow and you maybe don't have enough power to do a web line, you have 1 power instead of 2, that's where you can then use it to displace the character. So it almost fixes your power economy in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You're absolutely correct. So, what do you think about, like, do you think there's my stance is correct that like 9 times out of 10 you're going to take Miles's leadership, but there are some niche places where this one really does make a lot of sense?
Yeah, and I think that's the reason that you might still cling on to him as your 5 threat, even though you most of the time want to be running the other Peter. I do think that those niche scenarios probably are enough a lot of the time to run Amazing Spider-Man. The main reason I don't want to get too like in the weeds of how I've built my roster, but the main reason I don't is I very much am like a solitaire player, in that I have hammered my one strategy home so many times and so often that I'd rather think my way through climbing up the hill with what I know versus maybe playing something that's technically more optimal but sort of fumbling my way through it, which is how it sometimes feels when I play Amazing Spider-Man, that 10% of the time.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, okay. Let's talk. Are there any tactics cards that I should have been looking this up while we were talking, but I was too busy talking about them. Are there any Yes. There are several Peter Parker specific tactics cards. Oh, yeah, some of these are great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's talk about these in alphabetical order. So let's
You'd
begin.
never believe he played Web Warriors for like 2 years.
Yeah, I know. I've got a lot going on in my head right now. Sorry. All right, Cleanup is the first tactics card that's associated with Peter Parker. It is an unaffiliated reactive tactics card. An allied Agent Venom and an allied Peter Parker may each spend 1 power to play this card during the power phase. Agent Venom gains the Spider Sense superpower until the end of the round. Peter Parker gains the Symbiotic Instinct superpower until the end of the round. Spider Sense is obviously when this character is defending against physical or energy attacks or making a dodge roll, it may re-roll up to 2 of its defense or dodge dice. And it's not on the card, but Symbiotic Instincts is your opponent does not get to re-roll dice in their defense roll against your attacks. What do you guys think about Cleanup? I'll start here. I think that this is, if anything, it is a 3-threat Peter Parker card, and you probably still don't take it. It's probably not worth the slot. I mean, Web Warriors have a ton of good cards, and I think this one You don't take it in Web Warriors. I might be wrong about that. Brandon, what do you think?
I think this is the worst card you're going to talk about, and it has always bothered me that they didn't put both superpowers on the card.
Yeah, it is crazy that both superpowers aren't on this card.
Especially because the other one is more niche and slightly more like unbelievable.
I have an
like
answer to this.
Yeah. Symbiotic Instincts is on exactly 2 cards. Spider Sense is on.
Here's why. You have to be playing Agent Venom. That superpower, Symbiotic Instincts, is on his card, so you have it for reference. Not all Peter Parkers have this Spider Sense, so you can't read it off of his card.
That's true, yeah. Amazing Spider-Man does have a different type of Spider Sense, and so that does make sense why they would do that, I guess. I actually think you would run this with Amazing Spider-Man. This is another one, again, if you're framing it around Amazing Spider-Man as a tech piece in the mirror match, giving Peter Parker symbiotic instincts to turn off your opponent's spider senses on your 5-threat character who's going to tend to be rolling more dice into them, it could be a good way to hunt down the spiders. So I think it probably doesn't make your way into the 10. If it does, it is exactly your 10th card if you see Web Warriors a lot in your local meta. Because truth be told, my 10th card constantly changes, and sometimes I make it caught in a ham just for the memes. So I could see why you would put this in there. I think that's the corner case where I would play it, is not necessarily for the Spider Sense, but for the Symbiotic Instincts on Amazing Spider-Man, specifically in the mirror match. But that's a pretty big corner case, because I think there's probably other things that are a little bit better that you could do into the mirror match that doesn't, sort of weaken the tactics cards that you're bringing to the table.
I'll say this: the mirror match is an interesting game, and there is a lot of tech to be brought that is specific to the mirror match. There's like Clone Saga and
Clone Saga's crap, but that's a different day.
Oh, I agree with you. It's yeah, but like whoever has Agent Venom, if the other side doesn't, they will Agent Venom will probably win. That is because of symbiotic instincts.
Yeah.
And this gives it to you to another model on the table. So in that way, this is a good card. All right. Well, let's talk about Go Get 'em, Tiger. This is an unaffiliated reactive tactics card. When an allied Peter Parker dazes or KOs a non-grunt enemy character, after the effect is resolved, Peter Parker may spend 2 power to play this card. If Peter Parker is holding an objective token, he may remove up to 3 damage and up to 1 special condition. If Peter Parker is not contesting a secure objective token, he may advance short. Okay, so Go Get 'em, Tiger. This card is pretty good with Amazing Spider-Man, because Amazing Spider-Man of the Peter Parkers can kill someone. He has some pretty good attacks, and if you are able to daze or KO anybody, it's a good chance that you are holding an objective token, and you may be off of a point if you just threw yourself into somebody. So I think that this card is a very good little fixer piece. If you're hurt, it can heal you, and it can put you back on a secure. I like this card. I don't know. This is another case where I haven't played Web Warriors for a while, and I don't know if this is competitive enough to make your list. Brandon, why don't we start with you again? What do you think about this card?
I think this is the best of the cards we'll talk about.
Really? Okay. Okay, expand.
Yeah, please.
Because I don't agree with you. I'll say this: I don't agree with you. Please expand.
It's unaffiliated. You can play it when you play Peter Parker, regardless of affiliation. And I think that, and it's not reliant on any other character to be in your list. And it does so much for so little.
Okay, so you're like you are playing this when you splash like Peter Parker into another list.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
You can see that.
Yeah, this definitely. Is in a vacuum. I think this is the card that has it's the most value that you're gonna get with the least amount of commitment.
And I think that you're like Peter Parker, both versions really.
there's a world where you could splash them in other affiliations. You're usually playing them in Web Warriors, but it's non-zero chance that these get splashed for multiple reasons.
I think Splash at the very least the 3 threat, but I think the 5 threat has a lot of homes too.
Yeah, I agree. So
And I think and this is, I think, good enough with the 3 threat because, like I said, you just need to finish off a model. So if a model has like 1 damage left, like it's real easy to now put in like Spectacular into that situation. Like he can move, web swing, do 1 damage, heal 3, a special condition, and then move away.
that's great. Like that's
for 2 power.
Mm.
Brad, what do you think
just
about
the
that?
overall value on that card, I think, is, and I do think there's one more card that I think is very, very good. I think actually the last 2 cards are both pretty good, but I think just the overall value that you can get in this is extremely good on both of them. Like even like the amount, it's hard to put damage on Amazing Spider-Man, so getting him to like 5 damage and then taking him back down to 2 is really. And
Heartbreaking.
he gets to move away, yeah, and it's really easy for him to just get out of a situation. So it can just be problematic. All right, Daniel, what's your take on Go Get 'em Tiger?
Yeah, Daniel.
Go Get 'em Tiger. It floats in and out of the list for me. Again, this is more from a Web Warriors perspective. It floats in and out of the list for me depending on where the meta's at. There was a point in time where Sam Spam, at least in my local meta, was really, really popular. So I think anytime that you can heal damage as a Web Warrior, you have to look at this card. And so when Sam Spam was super popular, it was much more likely that either of the Peter Parkers would be finishing off a model for you. And so doing that to be able to heal, and then like you guys already mentioned it, you can heal and then end up moving on to a thing while you're already holding a thing. It's all very, very good. Currently, it's not in the list. I haven't been running into enough lists where I'm planning on dealing enough damage to regularly daze or KO models. Because even though it does happen as a Web Warrior player, it doesn't happen that often since you're kind of, at least I play almost purely scenario, so I can't guarantee that Peter Parker will be in the high leverage situation where he's next to someone who might go down with it. That being said, if the meta shifts more to a go wide strategies being more relevant again, I think this ends up slotting right back into the list.
All right, let's talk about the next one. This one is called Spider-Men. It is an unaffiliated active tactics card. During Miles Morales' or Peter Parker's activation, they may each spend 2 power to play this card. The active character chooses another allied Miles Morales or Peter Parker within range 3 and places the chosen character within range 2 of the active character. Then the chosen character may make an attack with a power cost of 0. This is really good. This is a card that gets an attack out. It's a free attack. Wait, hold on. Is it then the chosen character may make an attack with a, and the one who is chosen is the one that is not active. Is that correct? Am I reading that correctly? Yeah, so it's getting an out of activation attack. Out of activation attacks are great. And this does not cost an action. You're just getting a free attack out of this. I love this card. You're probably bringing, if you're playing in Web Warriors, you probably have a Miles Morales and a Peter Parker. Either one of them is probably going to be in your table. So I could be wrong about that, but Daniel, do you think there's a circumstance where you don't play one of those, one of the multiple versions of either one of them?
It is very few and far between, but this is maybe my hot take of the day. I think this is the worst of the cards we were talking about today.
Wow. Okay. All right. I would like to hear your opinion. Before we get there, I want to let everyone else have a chance because you are the person who has the most experience with this affiliation, so you should have the final say. Okay. So I think this is good just because it gets out of activation movement and an out of activation attack. All right. Brad, what do you think about this card?
I think it's fine.
Okay. Brandon, what do you think about this?
I don't think in most scenarios I want my Miles or my Peter Parker that close to people. Even if it does get you a free attack, I feel like you're usually trying to get away, not trying to get near people. So I don't know. I don't think this is a card I would ever choose to play.
Chosen character within you can make the attack at range 4. Like, you can use it to get further away from people and then do an impact webbing. Like, there's so much use to this. You could use it to get further away. Okay, that's fair. Daniel, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, Brandon kind of hit what my main point about it was going to be is this card seems really, really great. And I think if you are, we were talking about your guys' buddy CJ earlier, who plays a little more of a KG beat 'em up style webs. And I think if that's your game plan, you probably can set this card up really, really easily. When you're playing the more control / scenario focused version of webs, you're playing much more reactive. And when you're playing much more reactive, you're not setting up a card like this. So you may have great intentions to play this card at some point throughout the game, but the way that the course of the game is going to end up happening might not ever have Miles Morales or Peter Parker within 3 of each other. And so you'd rather have a card that's going to fit your more reactive play style than trying to force a way to set this card up, in my opinion. I mean, there are some use case for it still. Like, I don't think the attack is always going to be super relevant, but you can almost use it like a medevac or something like that, where if Peter has already gone or I guess actually if Miles has already gone, let's say you're in a situation where Miles web swings in and then does an attack and then gains the power to then steal a token off of somebody with his spender. You've wasted all of your actions getting that token, then you now need to keep him alive, so maybe Peter Parker can swing in there and move him away. That's kind of a corner case, though, and again, you're not really sure that scenario is ever going to pop up, so I'm not sure why you would want to put it in your 5 just in case that does happen. So the other thing is, the reason I say it's the worst of the cards we have so far is, like, yes, it's more likely you're going to be playing Peter Parker and Miles Morales together than it is you're going to be playing Peter Parker and Agent Venom. But at least with Peter Parker and Agent Venom's card cleanup, there is no range restriction, right? So regardless of where the game is taking you, which is always going to take you in a different direction, it's very hard to plan exactly what's going to happen on, turn 3 or turn 4 as a webs player, because you're really just reacting to what's happening in the game. It's much more likely that you're going to be able to get use out of Agent Venom and Peter Parker's card because you can play it no matter where they're out on the map versus having to have them within 3 of each other to play Spider-Man. So that's why I don't like it. I've put it on the table plenty of times, and then it's just sat there, and I've never gotten the opportunity to play it because Peter Parker needed to be on one flank displacing somebody while Miles Morales needed to be all the way on the opposite flank stealing a token off of somebody.
I see what you're saying. You're saying that just because of the nature of Web Warriors, you can't count on this. And
Right.
And if you bring it, it's going to be a dead slot in your hand. There's a very good chance that it's a dead slot in your hand. That makes sense. That's
Because I've
fair.
had plenty of games where I deploy Peter and put Miles directly next to each other, turn 1, and I put this card on the table. And then by the end of round 1, they somehow end up on opposite ends of the field because I'm reacting to what my opponent is doing, and I don't actually want them next to each other anymore.
Yep. That makes sense. Okay, I'm convinced. All right. Well, that is Spider-Man. And then the final card we will be talking about is the Cat and the Spider. This is an unaffiliated active tactics card. If Peter Parker is within range 2 of an allied black cat, both characters may spend 1 power each to play this card. Throw the allied black cat medium. Black cat does not suffer collision damage during this throw. After the throw is resolved, Black Cat may immediately interact with any number of objective tokens without spending power. Okay, I think this is an amazing card. This card is a setup piece for a ton of plays, a lot of round 1 plays for Peter Parker and Black Cat. I think this is a great card. All right, now, Brad, what do you think about this card?
I've seen people mess this card up a bunch, and it's funny because they think that they can double grab with it with a Peter Parker, and they can't. They spend the power, they throw Black Cat, she picks something up, and then they look at their Peter Parker who has no power and go, oh, that doesn't work like I thought it did. I love seeing that every time.
Uh-huh.
That's it. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Brandon, what do you think about this card?
I think this is the second best card we're going to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think this is the best card we're talking about, but that's me.
No, I think this
Alright.
card's really good. If you're going to play the two models, I think this card is something that you want to play, and you can play really early and get people in position, especially Black Cat. You can get her in position to go do other stuff on her turn. So, like, it's nice, but, like, yeah, I think even the more I think about it, I think Go Get 'em Tiger is still the best card. I don't know if any of these cards really consistently are going to make your 10.
Okay. All right. Well, I think this one consistently makes your 10 if you're playing Peter Parker and Black Cat. You probably are bringing this card. I could be wrong. Daniel, tell me why I'm wrong.
I don't think you're wrong necessarily. I think you're overestimating it because you're thinking of how good it used to be. Since the changes to priority, where you deploy before you know whether or not you have priority, Cat and Spider has taken a huge hit. Because it used to be, you win the priority roll, you know you're going first, so you can bring Cat and the Spider and automatically safe grab the middle point. Now you don't know if you have priority, so if you set up that safe grab in the middle point and you lose the second priority roll, they steal that middle point from you, and now you have Black Cat and Peter Parker in the middle of the field without that safe grab available to you. The one place where I think it still is really, really relevant is Inhuman Weapons. The way that Inhuman Weapons is lined up across the mid line. You have two secures on either side that are close enough to each other that even if you don't have priority, if your opponent picks up one, you can always pick up the other one right next to it. The only slight wrinkle there is whether or not terrain is going to cooperate with you for you to be able to throw Black Cat to pick it up for free. But I think this card is especially really good in that scenario with Amazing Spider-Man because you're safe grabbing with Black Cat on one of them, and if they don't pick up the other one right away, you can then you have this line that sometimes presents itself to you where Peter Parker can get to the midline in one move and then attack somebody, hopefully gain a power and pick up that other one. So you still, even though it's not a safe grab, you then have your sturdiest character in Amazing Spider-Man standing on the midline with a point who can then evacuate the next turn because he's one of the most mobile characters in the game. So I do think it's still a very, very valuable card. I think it's still worth running in your 10 because Inhuman Weapons, I think you should be running Inhuman Weapons as one of your crises, and even if you're not, it's a way that you can kind of punish your opponent for running it by setting up the safe grab. The one thing I will say in relation to this card and Amazing Spider-Man, though, is I think you still would rather run 3-threat Peter with it, and then run something like a Namor or an Angela. I might run Namor, but even Angela works on the other side of the other flank, and then you're guaranteeing yourself 2 safe grabs on Human Weapons by having a medium base long move on one side and then Cat and Spider set up on the other side.
Yeah. That makes total sense. I think you're right. I wasn't factoring in the change to the way that priority is determined. But I still think this is a very valuable effect.
I will also say, once upon a time, I did used to use this as more of an offensive tool if I had to. Because I would, and this was back when I was a much worse player than I am now, but I would set up Peter and Black Cat in the middle of the field, and then with what was in the middle, so I would end up not safe grabbing, and just like later on throwing Black Cat at somebody to try and finish them off with collision damage. So that is an option. I don't think it's the best option in the world, but if you are going to try and maybe risk it and think, hey, maybe I'll win the priority roll, I'll set this up, and if I don't win it, you at least have that backup option of being able to throw a Black Cat at someone's face. So
Especially
if you're playing a more cagey version, you might be able to do that.
Especially if they only have like 1 health left and they're holding a token. Because you get to throw her.
It ends up coming in clutch there.
And then you drop it, and then she picks it up.
Yeah, it's almost like a baby Terrigenesis. You don't get the extra points, but you kill a dude and get to pick the thing up at least.
Yeah.
So it does have some utility of that being your backup option.
Now Fred really wants to play it.
What's that?
Now Fred really wants to play it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I have very much enjoyed playing Convocation. I desperately miss Terrigenesis. It is such a fun card to play.
Yeah, but you have Ironbound books now. That card's sweet.
Yeah, it's no Terrigenesis, though.
But no, yeah, I love this card. I think even as, big of a hit as it took with the difference in priority rolls, it's still an auto-clue to the 10. It's my pick for the strongest card out of all these ones. It's the only one that I'm currently running in my competitive roster. That being said, I think other than Spider-Man, I'm not a big fan of that one. The other two are definitely worth a look at in your 10th slot, especially depending on what your meta looks like locally.
Okay, I agree with you. This is my favorite one of these four that we've discussed.
Yeah.
Because I've seen what it has done in the past, and it is an amazing card.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is it for our discussion of Amazing Spider-Man, but we need to give him a letter grade. So, Amazing Spider-Man, he is the 5-threat Peter Parker. He is very survivable, and he's only outshined by his 3-threat version. That's his biggest problem. His biggest problem is that he is... You just don't ever grab him when there's a 3-threat version of him sitting there next to him. I think that he's fully functional. He's a great model. I think I take him maybe like one every 5 times, one every 5 games, and maybe not even that frequently.
Yeah. I think it's also a function of how often you reach for a 5-threat when you're playing Web Warriors. At least for me personally, I tend to go a lot wider. So, like, even though I've replaced him with Namor, it's not like Namor's seeing the table significantly more than Peter was. It's just the fact that I never have to make that choice between the Peters anymore.
Right. Yeah. The fact that you're bringing this guy means that you can't bring the 3-threat version.
Yeah.
And that hurts a lot. So I think that this is a weird case. I'm gonna give him a B-, and just because he's just so outshined by, just because he has a 3-threat version of himself, which really like takes a lot of the wind out of his sails. All right, so that's me, B-. Brad, what are you going to give to Amazing Spider-Man?
I agree with Fred. Amazing Spider-Man is worse than Ghost Rider. I'm going B+.
All right. Well, Brandon, what are you gonna give to Amazing Spider-Man?
Well, Brad is correct, and Ghost Rider is the better of the two models. However, I agree with his grade too, B+.
Okay. And Daniel, what are you going to give to Amazing Spider-Man?
Can I give him a B.5? I don't think he's quite a B+ as much as I love him, but I feel bad only giving him a B because I love him. So can I give him a B.5?
It's a B and like a minus sign, so it's only half of the plus.
It's a B and a vision sign. We don't quite have the full plus colored in yet.
Okay, B
ran
and
out of
vision
ink.
sign, I see. Okay, B divided.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's fair. That's our take on Amazing Spider-Man. Brad, do you have any comic books? Have any comic books ever been written about Amazing Spider-Man?
Fred,
I don't think so.
You won't believe
I don't
this.
think there are any.
Not only are there more than 2 comic books, there are a couple movies as well. In fact, one just came out.
Yeah. I want to see it and have not yet seen it.
I was in and out while you guys were talking, trying to fix audio issues before the podcast, so I didn't hear anyone's hot takes. But my hot take: this is the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
Hey, that's what I said.
That is what he said.
Daniel said the same thing.
Yep. I have an even hotter take, but that's spoilers, and I'm keeping that under wraps. Marvel.
Oh god, he's gonna say it's the best Spider-Man movie.
No, it is not. It is up there though.
It's in my top 3, I think.
That's perfectly fair. It might be my number 2.
I'm not quite there yet, just because I love both the first 2 Tobey movies so much, but it's real close.
It's good.
It's close.
It's good. Okay, Marvel Fanfare 1 through 4. This is from 1982. This is Chris Claremont, Michael Golden, Dave Cockrum, and Paul Smith. This starts as an Angel and Spider-Man in the Savage Land fighting Sauron. Fred, do you know who Sauron is, named after the Lord of the Rings character?
He's the pterodactyl guy.
He's
Yeah.
the were pterodactyl. So it's Angel
Yeah.
and Spider-Man fighting him in the land of the dinosaurs. The X-Men and Magneto get involved eventually too, but it's a great story. It's so much fun.
That's one of my favorite comic panels ever is from a Spider-Man X-Men team up where Spider-Man is like teaching a new class for the X-Men, and Sauron's talking about his like advanced genetic science that he's doing or whatever. And they're like, with that kind of technology, you could cure cancer, and he just goes, "But I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs."
We'll circle back to that in just a
Okay.
second. The next thing I want to recommend is X-Men and the Spider-Man. I didn't put a year here, but this is the Christos Gage and Mario Alberti one. And this is stories of Spider-Man and the X-Men interacting at various points in Marvel's history. So there's like a story from like really early on, and a story that takes place in like the 80s comics and the 90s comics and so on. So each issue takes place in a different era. My final recommendation is Spider-Man and the X-Men from 2014, which is the comic Daniel was just talking about. This is by Elliot Callan. It's Kalan, and Marco Failla. And Spider-Man is hired to teach at the Jean Grey Academy. He's really there to find which kid is betraying the school. They go on a field trip to the museum and have a fight with dinosaur villains. This is Sauron and Stegon?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Stegon. And
Is Stegon a Stegosaurus? Where
Yes.
Stegosaurus?
He's
Oh
not
my
a
God.
he's not a were Stegosaurus. He's just a Stegosaurus person, and he is a Spider-Man villain.
Okay.
He's just a normal Spider-Man villain. And as Daniel said, this is the I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs.
It's incredible.
It is.
That's
it is
a villain
so
monologue.
Good.
That's a great villain monologue.
It is. It's so good. Fred, did you know that they now have a Sauron magic card?
Really?
Yeah, and you get to it when it. I think when it comes into play, Brandon can correct me here. You get to pick one of two options: cure cancer or turn people into dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's when he enters or when he attacks. You can cure cancer, which gains 3 life, or turn people into dinosaurs, which is put a Saurian counter on another target creature. It's a green dinosaur with base power 5/5.
It's maybe the best magic card ever made.
It's
Everything anyone has ever wanted in the history of anything.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's it. That's all I've got.
Okay. Well, the only thing that's left is my non sequitur recommendation. So, here's the thing. This would be a perfect time for me to suggest that people watch The Odyssey, seeing as how Tom Holland is also a star on The Odyssey, and that would be a great little tie-over.
Not
I
only
already-
him, Fred, but the Punisher is also in that movie and is in the new
You're right.
Spider-Man movie.
As is Zendaya. So,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
Everyone's there
they're-
except the CEO of Sex.
So, but I messed up, and I did that one 2 weeks ago. Although you should all still see The Odyssey. It's great. I went to a movie last weekend that is also Greek mythology based, and so I'm going to suggest that people see the movie capture of the musical Hadestown. I will say this. I am a huge fan of musicals. When I say that Hadestown may be the best musical I've ever seen, I want everyone to understand that Hadestown is an incredible musical. It is a jazz folk musical. It is telling the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, and you will not leave the theater without singing some of the songs to yourself, and you will not leave it with a dry eye. I guarantee it, unless you're a psychopath. So, so here's a little bit of backstory. She Who Tolerates Living With Me and I have gone to New York, and we were in the theater at one of the opening weekends. It was not opening weekend, but it was like the second weekend it was open for Hadestown in 2019. And we saw it again in the front row in 2020 in February, like a week before they shut down due to COVID. And I gotta say, like, this musical holds a special place in my heart. And seeing it in a theater with the capture from, like, they did a theatrical capture where they watched every person from the best angle available. It is truly amazing. It is great. Everyone should be seeing Hadestown. It's doing very well. I think it's the second most successful capture of a musical after Hamilton, and it may be on track to become the most. We'll see. But
I'm gonna go see it.
Oh, it's great, man. Like, if you are interested in musicals,
I do like musicals. Which, side note, I want to give my own non sequitur recommendation. Since we were talking about The Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield plays Peter Parker in The Amazing Spider-Man, and he is also in Tick, Tick, Boom on Netflix about Jonathan Larson. That is also a musical that is awesome. If you've never seen it, you should watch it.
I have not seen it, and I do
gosh.
want to see it.
It's
I know.
so good.
That is a huge glaring hole in my... I need to watch that. 100%. Yeah.
It's so good. I usually around Christmas time, there's a few Christmas movies I like on Netflix, so I'll re-up my subscription for a few months, and I make sure to watch Tick, Tick, Boom because it's so good.
I will do that, like, tomorrow. I think I'm going to watch it tomorrow. It's just, I never think about it. I need to watch that movie. You're right.
So good.
Isn't Andrew Garfield in, like, a ton of, like, musicals?
No, so Lin-Manuel Miranda basically, like, reached out to Andrew Garfield and was like, do you want to learn how to sing? I think you'd be a really good Jonathan Larson. And so, like, he learned how to sing for the role.
He is, I want to say this. Andrew Garfield is a shocking talent.
He's great.
He should be in a lot more stuff than he is. He's great. Like, he's great at everything. I've not seen him in a movie where I thought he was not, like, a standout performance.
Yeah.
All right, and on that note, I think that we should call this a successful episode of Crit Hit Wild. I want to say thank you to Daniel for joining us. Daniel, it's always great having you on. I like having you on to talk about this stuff.
It's always fun. I'm going to try to come down to West Virginia to see you guys next month, but I don't know 100% if that's going to happen or not. I just had to spend a bunch of money to get my car fixed, so we'll see how that goes.
That's fair. It is quite a long drive, and I completely understand if you don't. It would be very hypocritical of me to say otherwise, because I'm not coming to yours this month.
Honestly, I just want to make the 5-hour drive just so I can guilt you into eventually coming up here.
I was going to say, yeah, the more times you come down here, the more times Fred's going to feel obligated to come there. So
Yeah. All right, and I want to say thank you to Brandon for joining us. Brandon, I love having you on this show. I miss you, man. I miss having you around.
Miss you too, buddy. I'll be back soon.
Okay. All right, good. And Brad, thank you for doing all of the tech stuff and for recording this. Behind the scenes, there was a lot of technical difficulties this episode, and those listening probably don't hear much of any of it, and that's because Brad's working so much in the background. So thank you, Brad, for taking care of us in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for listening, all of you out there. I really appreciate it. And I hope that everyone has good games of Marvel Crisis Protocol. Goodbye, everybody.